So this is my game presentation. I decided to call my game Time Warp Legends Reborn. And then basically, what is the game overview for my game? The game is going to be aimed at teaching kids about history in a fun and interactive way. The game's going to start with creating a unique avatar. This avatar is going to enter a time machine, and the game will begin by getting transported into the land of the dinosaurs, with an objective that will need to be passed in order to unlock the next time period. Once you've passed that objective, you'll be returned to the time machine and it will take you to the next time period. Time periods are going to include, but are not limited to, Mesopotamia, ancient Greece, the French Revolution, the Revolutionary War, World War II, etc. And there will be many different challenges to help the player better understand history. So why did I choose a game based off of history? I chose the game to be based off of history because I think that there are many kids in school that have a hard time with the learning styles that are presented in modern day school, especially with textbook reading. And I think that's most prevalent in history because it is such a textbook heavy class where you're learning about different people and places and things and dates, and it all just kind of gets confusing and jumbled up. But I think that if you had a video game to teach that history more accurately, it really has a lot of potential to be a lot of fun. So we're going to talk about the gameplay and the mechanics. Let me just get there. So the objective or the main goal of the game is to unlock all the times in history that the game provides. There are, of course, sub-goals, which are to finish each objective provided in each era in the game. Hopefully, by playing this game, users will learn lots of valuable information about each time period. The game will be based on real facts and people, so there will be lots of things they will be able to take away from the game that will help them learn about the history of the world. It's going to be new and different for users because it provides a unique platform to provide facts about the history of the world. And the rules of the game are fairly simple. You just need to follow the instructions in each time period to complete a certain number of tasks. You'll not be able to skip around and do whatever task you want. It will be in a specific order. The player will be able to explore wherever they would like, but they will not be able to go to a new time period until all of the tasks have been completed in their specific time period. They will be able to go back to a certain time period that they maybe liked more, as long as they've already completed the tasks there. And then the game options and the UI. I think the genre is going to be a huge part in determining the game's UI. Since there are standards that already exist for an avatar-based action game, it's going to follow those standards that have already been set so as not to confuse the players. And that's kind of the advice that I've learned about through doing this, is that you want to follow those standards. I think the example of Assassin's Creed is a way that I used or designed my UI because I want it to look like that perfect way of showing the world and how the user is going to interact with that world. I want the only part of the UI that's going to remind them that they're playing a video game is when the time machine sends them updates regarding challenges that they need to accomplish. But other than that, I really want to keep it simple and allow the player to focus on what's going on around them and not feel like they're in some sort of weird video game. And then the gameplay, I want to use as many challenges as I can in order to keep the game entertaining. I really want to test both the player's mental and physical abilities, and I think that the more variety of challenges that my game has, the more fun it will be for the player. My choice of genre is action and adventure, and I really want to use a large variety of challenges in that. I don't think I'll limit the game to any common challenges found in action and adventure games. I'm not going to limit it to only those common challenges that are found in action and adventure games. My game's hierarchy of challenge will be 20 different levels for the player to beat. These levels will represent 20 different time periods on Earth. Each level will have 4 sub-levels, and each sub-level will have 5 atomic challenges. The first sub-level is going to focus on riddle challenges. The second sub-level will focus on coordination challenges, and the third sub-level will focus on fighting challenges. The fourth sub-level is going to focus on memory challenges. So that's kind of the 4 types of sublevels that we're going to have and the types of challenges that we're going to have in them. And then that's kind of the different levels. And then I just have an example of the UI that we created for this. And it is that's off of Assassin's Creed, but I really like how the screen is just simple. There's not a lot going on around the edges of the screen. It's really just the player and the world, and they're interacting with it. So that's what I plan on having for my game because I think it's less distracting for the player. Next, we're going to talk about the story setting and character. So the storyboard from the player's perspective is they're just going to be creating an avatar. Once that avatar is created, they will enter a normal everyday home. In the basement of the home, they're going to stumble upon a time machine. Without knowing what it is, the avatar is going to enter the time machine and suddenly be whisked away to the land of the dinosaurs. The time machine is going to communicate with that player in order to help them get back to their own time period. They are going to have to complete a series of tasks. The first set of tasks when the first set of tasks are complete, the avatar will be instructed to enter the time machine once again, but they will be transported to a new time period. This process will repeat until the player reaches their own time period. At the end of the game, they will have full control of the time machine and will be able to return to whatever era they would like to return to. There will be narrative throughout the game, and there will be a mission briefing from the time machine each time the player enters a new time period. The characters in the game, for the character development, they're going to be primarily story-based. Since the goal of the game is to realistically depict history, the characters need to be more story-based. The appearance for my story-based characters is they're going to be given the same appearance as somebody would in that time period. It's going to be unique to each different time period where the different people and characters in there will be accurate based off of history and what they would be wearing, what they would be doing. And then the world is going to be just like the actual world would be in that specific time period. It's going to be accurately scaled. Time really won't mean anything, but there will be night and day. There will be seasons. And the world will just be waiting for them to do something. There will be certain time periods that might be skipped, but it won't really be noticed because the user is going to be automatically transported to a designated time period. But I just included an example of the world, as you can see here. It looks pretty accurate. I really want it to look like that, where the buildings are to scale. It will change the appearance of the buildings, and the people will change according to the time period. The player might not be standing on roofs because I don't really want to include that in the game. I want it to be as realistic as possible. But the player will be able to interact with each unique world and have it look as real as possible. We're going to talk about the societal issues next. The positive issues is I think there's a lot of different positive effects from the game. One of the big ones, of course, is learning history in a more interactive way. It'd also be a great excuse for parents to allow their kids to play the game because it's helping them learn valuable information. I think it'd be a huge selling point if parents knew that their kids would be benefiting from the game. And then, of course, the player's going to benefit with the game because they're going to learn while they're playing it. And they're going to have fun doing that. I think the negative effects in the game might be if the time periods aren't represented accurately or with not as much fact. So I think that is going to be a huge focus in creating the game, is creating it as accurate as possible so as not to mislead the player or give them false truths or make them think that something is historically accurate because they played it in the game and then it turns out that it isn't. So there will be a lot of research done to make it as accurate as possible to avoid those negative effects. And then, of course, it has potential to help society in a major way. Some kids really struggle with reading in school, and I think it's hard for some kids to learn about things from a textbook. So having an interactive game that kids can use to learn about history is really invaluable. I think that allowing them to play a game, it's innovative, it's exciting, and it teaches them history. And it's not only limited to kids, it can be fun for adults as well. So in conclusion, or to gather support for the game, my bad, for the game assessment, um, I think that Time Warp Legends Reborn has so much potential. You have the support of parents because they want their kids to play the game, giving the kids more time to actually enjoy the game. And then the person playing the game is going to be able to watch their history books come to life. There's potential for many more games to come out after this one and to create a kind of series out of it. History is never ending and it's expanding. So ideas and resources will really not end that you can pull from to create new games. I think it's appealing to people of all ages, and I could see schools being supportive of people playing this game. And then the market analysis, I'd say there aren't really many games that can compete with this game. It is based off of Assassin's Creed loosely, but it really blows that game out of the water because it's using facts and actual characters from history, and it's allowing you to interact with them and get to know them better. And then here's my conclusion. The game is designed to be fun for all ages. It's designed to help everyone learn more about history and what it was really like. And then my game flyer, this is Time Warp Legends Reborn, and I have it as a sort of futuristic setting. I think to create some intrigue around the game, what's it about, what does it mean, and I think that would create some sort of hype about the game, and I think it's pretty accurate. Anyways, that is my presentation, and I hope that you enjoyed it.